Hi, my name is John Whitehead. I'm a leadership and executive coach, and welcome to this week's video blog post. I work with senior leaders and emerging leaders in organizations, and we've all been having to deal with a transition, haven't we, over the last number of weeks? I was out on my daily walk this morning with my wife, and she made the comment about how we've been doing this for 7 weeks now, and I couldn't believe it, that we have been in this situation here in Canada for that long, in other parts of the world a lot longer. Some areas of the world are starting to come back to normal, or what is the new normal anyway, and others, like in Canada, we're slowly starting to integrate back into maybe the way things were before the pandemic. There are some of you who are watching this now who have continued to go into the workplace because maybe you were deemed an essential service, or you were going into the workplace at least once a week just to touch base and feel close to work. Others haven't been going in at all. And this week I want to talk about a phenomena that has been starting to arise, that I've been reading more about and actually been experiencing myself, and that is the challenge that we've been facing for those of us working at home who are used to going into an office situation. And with all the virtual meetings that are going on. I mean, I'm using this platform called Zoom right now, and many of us are probably been using Zoom on a daily basis, most likely, to conduct meetings. And I heard one company has actually designated Friday as a Zoom-free day, Zoom-free Friday, because of the inundation of Zoom. We're also seeing other studies being done and anecdotal information coming that I'm reading about that says that these meetings that we're having virtually are actually take so much more energy than usual meetings that will come out of them really, really exhausted. And there are a number of reasons for that, but I think one of the reasons is that because if you think about this, if you're in a meeting with 9 people, usually you're around a big table, maybe like the table behind me here. But with Zoom, you've got those 9 pictures in front of you, right? All those faces looking at you, and you're taking in all that information, all that visual data you're taking in of those individual people. So on one hand, it's great that we can stay connected and we can see people. On the other hand, we're not having to turn down and look down the end of this table here, right, to talk about, Joe, at the end, what do you think? And then turn back. We've got all this virtual stimulus. One of the other challenges I'm seeing is this, that there's a blurredness between home and work. You know, there's a lot of conversation before the pandemic about work-life balance. But now we've been sort of thrown into this throes where it's all jungled and mingled up, and keeping that balance. And so with the Zoom meetings, maybe it's about, you know, how often do we have to have these meetings? Do we structure them so that we only schedule 1 or 2 or 3 a day? If you're in a leadership role, how might you influence that? How might you influence, do we really need to have that Zoom meeting? I mean, if you didn't have to have a meeting before, do you have to have a meeting by Zoom now? If you would pick up the phone and phone, why don't you just pick up the phone now? And also emails. I don't know how many of you have been sitting at home at 11 o'clock watching the news or whatever, and suddenly your email beeps because somebody's emailed you. There's are we considering that just because we've got this merging of home and work doesn't mean that there isn't a separation? You know, when we were in the office, we would leave the office, we'd walk in our home, into our home, and now we're home. And in the morning, we walk out of our home into our office, and now we're at work. But where's that line now? If it's in the same space, we're not physically going into town or across the city to get to our home office. Where's that difference? How do we need to deal with that now? And one of the suggestions is, if you get, this came out of a conversation I was having with a client, is if you're getting emails that late, and maybe, yes, you feel the need to respond, right? You can't help it but respond. Maybe put the response in your draft folder, keep it in your draft folder, or schedule it to go out the next morning after 9 a.m. Be aware, if you're one of those individuals, are you sending emails at night? And if you are, should you be? And if you are, have you got leaders? I mean, you can't You can't control how leaders send to you, but you can control what you send to your staff, to your direct reports. So are you setting the table? Are you modeling the way by sending your emails during office and business hours? And if something comes to you to mind and you need to put it down, great, but put it into your drafts or keep it or schedule it for the next day, so that your direct reports don't feel that they have to respond. Because if their boss is mailing you, you get this need, oh, I have to email back, right? So think about that. How are you dealing with that? How are you managing that? And try and see how you manage, if you can manage your time any differently. You'll not only be doing yourself a favor, your families a favor, but you're doing your direct reports a favor as well. So that's it for this week. Thank you for listening and watching my video. If you've got any comments and suggestions, again, put them at the bottom. It'd be great to hear from you, and we hope to talk to you again next week. Thank you.